Now, this may not apply to all of you depending on the strategy or niche that you're doing. So I'll go into each one, give some examples on how different investors and licensed brokers are using these strategies for their business. So pick what applies to your business. Not all of them will, and that's okay, right? Some people are getting confused thinking they have to come up with a webinar series for their motivated sellers. That's not the case, right? So don't worry. All right, so here are the most common ones, once again, that other people are using. So this is a little bit more concrete examples of different lead magnets that your competition is using in your area, all right? And PDF reports, right? Things to look for, what an investor looks for when they are coming up with their cash offer, right? The 3 best moving companies that you can call on that'll help you get up, packed, and running, help you transition out of your particular property, right? You can use other reports or a cheat sheet on how to, for example, fix your credit if you are building a tenant buyers list. We're using credit repair as a lead magnet for our rent-to-own strategies to help build our tenant buyers list. You can do videos, right? Now, you don't even have to create your own videos, or you don't have to jump in front of the screen doing your own videos. Gil O was talking about using Animoto to create and do his videos. So again, you can make it interactive. You can go on websites like Animoto.com or Windows Movie Maker, and you can use these to produce high quality videos. Webinars. How are we using webinars as a lead magnet? We're not using them so much with out-of-state or inherited homeowners. We're using webinars on our retail strategies where we wholesale properties. So we'll have a webinar with first-time home buyers. We see brokers doing webinars on what homeowners or what people can do to start to transition into home ownership. We used to have a pipeline of short sales, so we were marketing for pre-foreclosures. So we would have webinars with regards to homeowners that are looking to bounce back from losing their home, or that are in potentially tight spot that are going through a short sale. So life after a short sale, what can they do? How can they rebuild? How can they bounce back and continue to fix or clean up the situation that they're in? So couple webinar suggestions and tips for those of you that are licensed and are agents there in your particular area. We've had I've seen somebody else do this. Well, they do a webinar and they're bringing homeowners in and kind of showing them, how to start putting together their own rehab deal, on the property. Too unique of a niche and really specialized, so that's not something that we do or we promote. Again, you would have to be a seasoned webinar and have content that you can train on that, so it's not necessarily something that you can implement and run anywhere else, right? Teleseminar would just be something that there's no video, it's teleconference based, and that's very similar again to licensed brokers and agents that are doing teleseminars for their particular list and their target map or audience. Mind maps, not big on the mind maps. We don't use those for motivated sellers, but we will put out some audios as well. So let's say if we have a PDF report that we're using, then we'll go ahead and record either a video or do an audio of that particular PDF report, right? So they can get a report and they can get an audio download as a lead magnet on that particular squeeze page, right? And then you can also go with a piece of software. With a piece of software mostly related to credit repair, first-time home buyers, some of you are wondering, what does the first-time home buyer have to do? This has a lot to do with the lease option strategy, right? Because you're dealing with people that are looking to transition into home ownership, all right? So they might not be familiar with rent-to-own or lease options. So that might not be the hook that gets them through the door. It may be content about the home buying process, Okay, you can have a lender or a mortgage broker do an interview with them, have them explain what are the what are the factors involved in the home buying process and qualifying for a loan, or some of the paperwork and requirements. You can even have something simple as a PDF report on the checklist of documents that need to be prepared, right? So if you're struggling to try to build a tenant buyer list, take a look at your options and maybe reframe it, or have these leads come in under a different thought process, under a different idea, or just focus on transitioning into home ownership. Okay, what are the items needed to transition somebody into home ownership? You will have to educate and help them move throughout that process, and that may be some of the lead magnets that you will need for building your tenant buyers lists, right? Now, when it comes to dealing with your motivated sellers, we can talk about you can talk about the benefits of doing business with a cash buyer, pros and cons. Okay, you can explain to them the process. When I deal with my homeowners, I let them know that we do have to buy it at a discount to allow us to make and turn a profit. That's how we stay in business. We give them other opportunities to sell the property. So we'll walk the homeowner through other options that they have at their disposal. All right, and it's interesting because the harder you run after somebody, generally the harder it is that they will flee from you, right? But in this case, when you're dealing with motivated sellers, the more options you give them and the more they eliminate that, the closer they are to doing business with you. Our homeowners know that if they rehab the property, they can make a good amount of money into it, and we'll give them a ballpark range of the estimate. Right? Some people are very worried about, well, what if they take their business to somebody else? Well, you're already there, and if you built the right rapport, then why not partner with them on the rehab? Then your only capital is the construction cost for that particular property. You don't have to worry about acquisition or purchasing the property, since you are now working directly with the homeowner. Again, focus on delivering content, delivering value, providing information, or educating them on how they can fix their problems, what are things that they can do to address and make their situation a little bit better or a whole lot better.